You didn't arrive here by accident. You didn't open this video because the algorithm had a good day. You opened it because, over the last 3 days, something inside you hasn't been in its right place. A silent restlessness, a thought that returns before you sleep, a strange sensation of standing before an invisible threshold, agitated sleep, a fatigue that didn't come from the body, a desire to leave the life you built without knowing where to go. This is not a coincidence. This is the wave of the eclipse already hitting your field before the physical phenomenon occurs. Today, August 12, 2026, the total solar eclipse meets the new moon, and what you are about to hear in the next few minutes will define whether you will cross this passage as part of the sleeping majority, who tomorrow will blame all of this on stress, or as part of the minority who knows how to use a window like this to rewrite the entire timeline. Stay until the end, because the 8 things I'm going to unlock here are not mystical theory. They are operational instructions for the next 72 hours. The first point you need to understand is that the portal is already open. We are no longer waiting for the eclipse. We are no longer preparing. The preparation is over. Today is the peak of what began to move in your field about 7 days ago, and if you paid attention, you felt it. That is why that decision that had been dormant for months came back to haunt you. That is why an old person appeared in your thoughts for no apparent reason. That is why your body began to demand rest, or your sleep began to demand dreams stranger than normal. The portal is not a distant astronomical event. A portal, within the logic of the architects, is the turning point where the cost of remaining stuck in your current life has become greater than the terror of taking the next step. You don't need to wait for signs in the sky. The sign is already being given in your bedroom, in your breathing, in the way you are reading this sentence right now. And here the division becomes cruel. The crowd will go through today without noticing a thing. They will call it a strange day, a headache, a bad mood. They will miss the entire window. You, who have made it this far, are on the other side. You are already inside the passage, and what happens emotionally in the coming hours deserves to be observed with clinical attention, not panic. The second thing you need to know is that this is not just an eclipse. This is the birth of a new cycle. And understanding this changes everything. The sun will be obscured exactly at the moment when the moon is at the 0 point of its own cycle, the new moon. This is a symbolic coincidence that ancient tradition treated as sacred for a practical reason. You have, at the same instant, one reality being erased and another being sown. It is not an end. It is not a punishment. It is not a bad omen. It is an interval. It is that second when the page turns and neither is fully visible. The darkness of the eclipse is not a threat. The darkness is the space between what has already lost its function in your life and what cannot yet be seen because it hasn't even been born. You have probably already noticed that some things in your routine, in your work, in your network of relationships, in the way you talk to yourself, simply no longer make sense. You stay there out of habit, not conviction. This is the old version dismantling itself. Do not force it. Do not hold on. Do not try to reanimate what is already dead in the invisible. Let it fall. What is to be born can only occupy the space that the fall leaves behind, and this is exactly where most fail. They feel the void and rush to fill it with anything. A distraction, a fight, an impulsive decision, a return to what no longer served, just so they don't have to face the interval. You cannot do that today. Today, the interval is sacred, and that is precisely why I prepared magic in 28 exercises, the 28 keys of awakening for you. Because a window like this, without structure, dissolves in 48 hours. You feel it, you cry, you promise you will change, and on the third day, daily life swallows everything up again. The 28 keys are a journey of a complete lunar cycle, designed exactly to take the momentum that the eclipse opened today and transform it into physical decision, into routine, into real direction. It is not a spiritual theory course. It is not content for you to consume and forget. It is the infrastructure that separates those who went through a cosmic event from those who were transformed by it. People who feel lost, too different, or overwhelmed, who feel that there is something greater calling and don't know how to translate it, find in the 28 keys the exact language that was missing. Your restlessness becomes words. Your shadow becomes clarity. Your signs become decisions. The link is in the first pinned comment right below this video. And before we continue, comment below I cross if you know deep down that this transmission did not reach you by chance. This word is your seal of commitment to the passage. The third thing is hard, but you need to hear it. What looks like chaos today is in fact revealing what was hidden inside you for a long time. Ancient traditions were afraid of eclipses. They closed windows. They prayed. They said it was a sign of the end of the world. But what these traditions were actually recording, without having the language for it, was a brutal psychological fact. When the external light diminishes, your attention is forced inward. And what was inside, hidden under the normal noise of life, rises. A memory you swore you had overcome may return today with strange sharpness. A person you blocked in your heart may appear in your thoughts without invitation. An old anger may rise for no apparent reason. A sadness you didn't know still existed may take over a random moment of your day. This is not a setback. This is not you getting worse. This is the shadow presenting itself to be seen, because the shadow can only be integrated when it is seen. And the eclipse is literally the astronomical moment when the shadow becomes visible in the sky. It mirrors up there what is asking for space down here. Most will react to this in the worst possible way. They will fight, they will curse, they will post impulsive things, they will break ties via message, they will make decisions that tomorrow will cost them dearly. Not you. You will only observe. Observing is not passivity. Observing is the first act of command over your own field. Write down on paper what rose up. Name it, acknowledge it, and let it be. You don't need to resolve it today, it only needs to be seen. The fourth thing is a direct instruction about your body. Today you may notice that something in you is more sensitive than normal, and there is an explanation for this. Sleep may come in fragments, or too heavy, or full of dreams that seem more real than waking life. You may wake up tired without having made any effort. You may feel the environment of your own home differently, as if the air had weight. You may have sudden spikes of emotion without a visible trigger, an urge to cry in the middle of a banal task, irritation with someone who did nothing to you, a strange joy that appears for 3 seconds and vanishes. None of this is illness. None of this is your psyche collapsing. This is your sensitivity doing what it has always known how to do, picking up on the change before the others. More sensitive people feel first what the crowd will only recognize 2 weeks from now, when the practical effects of the eclipse are already in the middle of their lives. You are ahead of schedule. This is not a burden. This is an advantage. But it requires a care that most do not have, not transforming every sensation into a threat. Each wave that rises today is not a warning that something bad is going to happen. It is just information. Drink more water than normal. Eat simple food. Cut your screen time in half. Reduce unnecessary conversation. If you can, get off your phone for an hour and just stay in silence. Your nervous system is processing much more than it can translate into thought, and it needs this space. It's not being high maintenance, it's protocol. That is why I prepared magic in 28 exercises. The 28 keys give you exactly the map of this sensitivity, translated into daily practice, so you can stop feeling overwhelmed without knowing why. The link is in the first pinned comment now. If you don't take this window today, it closes, and the next portal of this size isn't until next month. The fifth thing changes the game. The portal demands a choice, not an observation. And this is where most people get stuck. They confuse feeling with transforming. They spend the whole day emotional, write a beautiful text in their diary, cry looking at the sky, and the next day everything goes back to normal. Why? Because a portal doesn't save you. A portal doesn't do the work for you. A portal only amplifies the strength of the choice you were already ready to make, but had been postponing. Today, some decision you know you need to make will return with unusual intensity. It could be about a relationship that hasn't nourished you for a long time. It could be about a job that sucks your energy every day. It could be about a project of yours that you abandoned because other people laughed. It could be about a subtle addiction, infinite scrolling, food used as anesthesia, alcohol used as an escape, the old conversation you repeat with the same person without going anywhere. A voice from the sky is not going to come and tell you what to do. It won't. What will come is a clear, almost physical sensation that continuing the same way costs more than taking the next step. This is the portal. And here is the part no one tells you. The ground only appears after you take the step. Never before. You receive no guarantee, you receive no proof. You receive a window, and it asks you to cross based on little information and much internal conviction. If you wait for absolute certainty, the window closes, and you stay exactly where you are. And 6 months from now, you will look back and recognize that today was the day you could have changed the timeline and chose to stay. The sixth thing is twofold, because the two are intertwined. Protect your energy today and do not enter into the chaos of others. Collective emotions will seem more charged in the coming hours. People around you may be restless, aggressive, tearful, dramatic, bringing up old issues for no apparent reason. Message groups may become more toxic. Social networks may seem like an emotional sewer. Someone you haven't seen for months might send a message trying to reopen an old wound. This is not about you. Repeat, this is not about you. You are not obligated to answer every call. You are not obligated to dive into every drama. You are not obligated to respond to every provocation. The eclipse exposes what was hidden in everyone, and most don't have the structure to deal with what rises. You do, but only if you refuse to absorb it by osmosis. This means, in practice, reducing exposure time to exhausting conversations, postponing discussions that are not urgent, leaving groups that only serve to dump venom, closing apps that are draining you, sleeping early if the body asks, eating warm food, walking barefoot on the ground if you can, taking deep breaths more often than normal. None of this is self-help fluff. This is basic energetic hygiene on a storm day. Trust your perception. If something feels strange, it's because it is strange. If someone seems to be forcing a conflict, it's because they are forcing a conflict. Don't invent a narrative to rationalize what your instinct has already identified. Today, your instinct is sharper than your logic. Use it. The seventh thing is the most important of the entire video. Pay attention to the call that will arise during the passage. At some point in the next 24 to 48 hours, an idea will come to you with uncommon clarity. It might be during a shower. It might be at bedtime. It might be in the middle of a walk. It might be in a dream that you will remember in rare detail. A persistent desire to drop something. A new direction that appears out of nowhere. An old dream that you had buried and returns asking for space. An opportunity that you had been postponing accepting and now seems obvious. A truth about yourself that you avoided acknowledging. This is the whisper of the next chapter. It is not an order to act impulsively in 5 minutes. It is not for you to drop everything today without a plan. But it is a clear sign that a part of your life is already ready to change, and the portal is giving you the information in advance. Most will ignore it. They will call it nonsense. They will rationalize it. They will say it's not the time. They will let it pass. And a year from now they will remember exactly this date as the moment when a turn was offered and refused. You will not do that. You will write it down. You will write what rose up. You will give it a name. And you will begin to build the bridge between this call and practical reality over the next 28 days. Because a call without structure becomes just another broken promise to yourself, and your soul is tired of broken promises. And that is why I need to be direct with you now at this exact point in the video. If you feel the call rising, if you recognized your life over the last few days in at least 3 things I've said so far, then you cannot close this window without the right structure. Magic in 28 Exercises was built exactly for the viewer who reaches this minute of the video. The 28 Keys of Awakening take you through a complete lunar cycle, integrating every layer of what the eclipse opened today: sign, shadow, decision, and direction. And without this, the window closes, and you return to the old pattern in 3 days because routine is stronger than emotion. The link is in the first pinned comment. Don't leave it for tomorrow, because tomorrow, the portal will no longer be at its peak. You cross today or you cross months from now, when the next window of this size opens, if you still have the same internal disposition you have now. And you know, deep down, that you probably won't. And we come to the 8th thing, which is perhaps the most delicate of all. The true meaning of what is happening today will only be perceived when the light returns. Tomorrow, the sky returns to normal. The networks return to normal noise. people return to normal performance. And that is exactly where the real test begins, because the eclipse is not measured by what you felt in the darkness. It is measured by what remains different when the light returns. It is easy to have an inspired moment in the middle of a cosmic passage with everyone talking about it. The hard part is waking up on an ordinary Wednesday and discovering that that old trigger no longer has the same power over you. The hard part is receiving the same old provocation and reacting in a new way. The hard part is looking at the same task that used to exhaust you and feeling that you are no longer the same person who did it out of fear. This is the point where the transformation proves itself. Not in the crying of the eclipse, in the micro-decisions of daily life when the new lunar cycle is already underway. Pay attention over the next 28 days. Observe if old fears still dominate you with the same intensity. Observe if you react differently to things that used to knock you down. Observe if your daily choices begin to be more aligned with what your soul asked for today. If so, the passage was real. If not, the window passed and you observed from the outside. Comment below the light returns. If you understood that the work begins tomorrow, it doesn't end today. This word is your contract with the next cycle. And if you are not subscribed to this channel, understand one thing before you leave. Each video here is not isolated content. Each video is a coordinate within the larger map of the energetic window we are crossing this entire year. If you are not subscribed, you receive disconnected pieces. You lose the context of what comes after this portal, of the next passages, of the windows that will open in the coming months. Losing the sequence is losing the map. Subscribe, hit the bell, and be part of the minority that is building this internal infrastructure video by video. What you heard here today was just the preparation, the revelation of what this passage means for your new life, for the timeline that opens starting tomorrow, is in the video appearing on your screen right now. Click on it. The first 60 seconds will change the way you see everything I have just said. Do not close this window. Cross with me.